In this time lapse of an oil painting on a timber artist's palette, I will be painting a witchy woman dancing in the forest, and will be sharing a little bit about my painting process. These are the colors I will be using. I will talk a little more about this choice of colors later on in the video, as well as the fact that I will be breaking a so-called color rule with this painting. I will also be using a technique that I don't often use called stippling. I'm just adding flat blocks or patches of color here for the base or foundation layer of this painting. Some colors are much stronger in pigment than other colors depending on what they are made of. Colors that are stronger in pigment need to be used more sparingly when blended with other colors, or else they will just take over. Transparent oil paints tend to generally be much stronger colors than opaque colors. It is often an interesting and creative practice to paint things in unusual colors. For example, red water, orange mountains, or green squirrels. In this case, I am painting purple and orange trees. However, you always have to have the correct values or tones regardless of what colors you use. Otherwise, things could really look off. There is an element of abstraction to this painting because soil usually looks nothing like this. These shapes on the ground lead the eye towards the dancing figure. The sky and her dress may look blue, but it's actually turquoise. The colors might look a little different on your monitor. Usually the further away something is, the lighter it should be painted, especially with landscapes. This is an ancient Celtic symbol known as a Triskele or a Triskelion, formed by 3 interlocking spirals. It is most famously found in ancient Celtic and pre-Celtic sites across Europe, particularly in Ireland. One of the earliest and most well-known examples appears at Newgrange, a Neolithic passage tomb in County Meath, dating back to around 3200 BCE. In truth, nobody actually knows what the symbol means, but it has been suggested to represent movement, balance, and the continuous flow of life, and is associated with Celtic spirituality. The shadows and highlights are being painted on top of a dry layer of paint here. I will eventually also reduce the contrasting values in the dress by lightening the shadows here. The contrast here is too extreme. I'll show you the final result at the end of the video. I'm darkening the color of the sky so that the lighter dots can show up better. The dots for the trees need to appear more varied in relation to spacing, but the dots for the ground will be more uniform. the color yellow snuck into this disc, which was not part of my initial color choices for this painting. Now I'm actually changing the yellow to orange in keeping with my original palette, and will also reduce the tonal or value contrast because the background was too busy behind the woman and detracted attention away from her. These original oil paintings on artists' palettes will be available for sale. Between 20 and 100% of the proceeds will be going to charity. The link will be in the description if you're interested. Out of the first 5 paintings in this series, this is the only painting that has and will employ a lot of movement. The next painting is of a slightly unusual still life, using the colors purple, pink, turquoise and dusty yellow. This face is actually really small. I have a lovely large magnifying glass that helps me to see what's going on. So the so-called color rule that I broke here was the fact that I put a color that advances behind the figure while putting a color that generally recedes in the front. I also did something similar with the trees. Warm colors generally appear to be further forward in a picture, and cooler colors generally seem to look as though they are further back. However, other factors such as saturation, contrast, object placement, sharpness, and details also need to be considered in relation to which objects stand out in an image or look further back. I'll go into more detail about this in future videos on this channel. Here is a clearer picture of the color palette I used. I've used mainly orange, purple and turquoise in this piece. Orange and purple are secondary colors depending on which color wheel you use. There are actually 3 different color wheels, which I will go into more in a future video. Let me know if you have any questions about this painting process or anything else in the comments section below, and see you in the next video.